take a moment, as if you haven't already today, and remember those in Ukraine. It's a disaster. And if you could remember Ray Mazaris, passed away a few days ago, who was also a police officer here in the village of Highland Falls. I'd like, for the record, to continue the open meeting, the open public hearing on moratorium on land use development. I will continue, as I just said, the meeting being open, and close it again when we're done talking about it. Elise, could you give us the overall points of the moratorium?
So the purpose of a land use development moratorium is essentially to preserve the status quo of the village while the governing board has an opportunity to review either all of the zoning law or certain aspects of the zoning law for possible changes. This local law is, if it's adopted, will be in place for a period of 2 months. It can be extended for 2 more periods of 2 months each if the board sees that it needs more time. It will essentially stop all approvals or processing of applications for land use development until such time as the moratorium is lifted, with certain exceptions. So for example, if you're asking for a ministerial permit, like a building permit, that is an exception to this and can move forward. If you are constructing a single or two-family home on an approved lot, that can move forward. If you are asking for an area variance for a single or two-family home or an accessory building to a single or two-family, that can move forward. If you are requesting a lot line adjustment, that can move forward. If you have a subdivision application before the Consolidated Planning Board and you have completed seeker to the point of a negative declaration, that can move forward. You can also process an amendment to a site plan approval for the purpose of satisfying the condition of the original site plan. So if you're in the process of completing all the conditions for an approved site plan, you can move forward with that. And if you have already received final conditional subdivision or site plan approval or special permit approval, that can move forward. Otherwise, everything else is held in abeyance until such time as the board lifts the moratorium. Now, you can apply to the governing board, the Board of Trustees, if you feel that you want to pursue an application before either the Consolidated Planning Board or the Zoning Board, but it requires an application to this board and a review by this board to determine whether or not you should be exempted for the period of the moratorium to proceed. And in the law, it talks about what you have to show and prove to this board in order to be exempted. So essentially that, the only other thing that it does is, under New York State law, the planning board, if it has an application before it, for example, for a subdivision, and it doesn't act within a certain period of time under the statute, it's deemed approved. So this moratorium also holds that in abeyance as well.
Okay, public comment. If not, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
Well, I actually had a comment, not as part of the public, but the comprehensive, the update of the comprehensive plan, the draft of it has already been sent to us by the other group a few weeks ago, almost a month ago, right? And there was something in there that actually mentioned this amendment of the B3 zone that we are considering, right, amending. That was not part of their plan until we told them to put it in the plan.
That really is not correct. That's not correct. That was part of their plan.
They were the ones who thought about it and put it on there on their own?
Yes.
So nobody called them and asked
No.
them to put it on?
No.
Gina, nobody asked them to, because they weren't even aware of that we
If you
were
look at the dates,
considering the amendment
I
of
can tell you
B3 zone.
that.
Huh?
I can tell you that. I have not spoken to the LA group. And no one, at least I did not call them to say, put this in the plan. So if you want to call them and ask them, you can. You have
So
them already.
nobody from the board, I know,
I mean, I can't speak
I
for the
believe you,
board,
Elise.
but,
So you didn't call them,
no.
and nobody from the board, you know, the mayor or Gina didn't tell them that we were considering an amendment of the amendment about the B3 zone.
No, that was a mistake that I uncovered as I was doing some work for the zoning board of appeals.
Well, but the thing is, I think everybody in the planning board and zoning board says that that was not a mistake. When it came up in 2019 and 2020, they actually looked at it and said 350 square feet, are you guys sure? So that just a couple of years ago, when we made that amendment for a B3 zone of 350 square feet, that was brought up and said that's too small. So I think we're in agreement that that number is too small, but that 2,500 square feet is too big, and it certainly needs to be changed. I get it, okay. But the question is, the update of the comprehensive plan, the draft has already come out, but that draft included, for some reason, that amendment that really came up only a couple of weeks before the draft came, actually a few days before the draft came out. One week, less than 1 week. So I had actually asked LA Group to how they incorporated that information that just came out at a village board meeting into their draft. And I'm being told that one of us told them to put it in.
Let me just say this once more. I did not see that until after I had recommended that the B3 district be revised to reflect what it always had been, which was 2,500 square feet. There was never a 350 feet, and if there was, it was in fact a mistake back in 2019 that no one caught, including myself. So
I'm
When
not sure what's going on here.
I don't know,
I really
I'm
don't.
trying to
Like, I'm
explain
lost.
that, yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah,
explain that.
Yeah,
When I saw
I don't know
when
what's
I
going on.
finally saw the LA Group's
Excuse me?
modified,
well, not for me,
No,
but,
let her talk.
when I saw the modified plan, I had already said to this board that that needed to be corrected. Then when I saw the LA Group's plan, which was after that, by the way, my assumption was, well, it was always 2,500, so they've noticed that there's a mistake. Well, look, I'm telling you, as your attorney,
Yes.
on the record, and truthfully, that is how I did it.
Right.
That
Okay,
no
so
one
you-
from this board called me, and to talk about that I am the one who said, this is a mistake, I just caught it, we need to modify it. Let's make it what it has always been, always, before 2019, 2,500 square feet. And if you go back into the old books, that is what you'll see for all of the business district.
Yes, but we did change it. We made an amendment, we made the deliberate amendment for for a B3
I
zone in
suggested-
2019, 2020 to reduce it to 350 square feet. But you're right, it needs to be changed. It's too small, too small. It needs to be changed.
Any
The
more
question
questions
is,
from anyone?
told the LA group to put that in the
I don't
comprehensive
believe
plan.
anyone told them, at least I didn't, and I don't think anyone else did.
Yes.
I have a question. Edward Falter, 427 Main. If it's a mistake from the LA group, why should we pay for it?
It wasn't a mistake
I
from
thought you
the
said
LA.
it was a
No.
mistake.
It was a mistake when we created the B3 district in 2019.
We mistakenly created the B3 district?
That was-
No, of course not. When this board revised the zoning in 2019 and created a new district, the B3 district, it was modeled upon the B1 district.
So it was the same as the B1 district?
It was supposed to be the same as the B1 district. I drafted the
That was
law,
all one district though before. There
and it was
wasn't,
always 2,500.
so why does it need to be a separate district if it's exactly the same?
That's right.
The
Why would
board
it be a difference?
modified the height restrictions,
There's different height restrictions?
the different height restrictions at the north end of the village and at the south end. And also decided to move, I think they moved the border of the B1 district further down. And then created the B3 districts at either end to create more height, to allow people to develop more.
That's right. To allow people to develop more. So that B3 district was created by this board, I wasn't here yet, so that we allow people to develop more. But so to develop more, you can't have the same square footage.
Yeah, that would be.
It would make no sense.
Yeah.
If you want to
Increase the height.
develop more, but change it
Sounds like
from
you're
a
paying
B1 with the same.
the LA group to nail your feet to the ground.
Who's answering the question?
I don't know.
You answer the question?
I don't know.
Yeah, sounds like.
I don't understand why we're paying for mistakes that we asked for.
I made the mistake and you're not paying for it.
Who's paying for it?
I'm on a retainer.
Sorry?
I'm on a retainer.
So LA
I
group
do
doesn't
all
need any
that
money
work.
to make the amendment, make the change?
Is there any other, I don't know what, anything else?
LA groups?
Hey, this is public comment. I appreciate your comment. It was registered. Anything else?
I want to know if they're paying pro bono to change the amendment.
To amend the amendment.
Is it free?
They're
This is
not
costing the village
amending-
money.
Okay, can we just stop? Maybe people don't understand how zoning works. Perhaps that's what
Well, no,
happened.
people understand.
I don't know, because I'm getting questions that it seems like they
It's
don't.
pertinent questions, are these,
I
don't
think
you?
we paid for a consultant that made a mistake, and we're repaying the consultant to fix the mistake.
I made the mistake when I created the 2019 draft, and no one caught it. It was as simple as that.
So you write the zoning laws for?
I wrote the 2019 zoning law
And then it
as
was
part of
voted in.
my retainer.
And it was voted in by
The
the
board
board?
looked at it, yes.
Yes.
We had public hearings. Developments went forward because of that zoning change. Okay, and there was a mistake, a simple mistake. Now, when I suggested, before LA Group even said anything that I knew about, that it should have been the same as B1, that was the only little correction. And then people decided that, and the board decided, well, maybe it should be looked at in more detail because 2,500 might not be small enough, but 350 might not be big enough. At that point, that goes beyond a simple amendment. Okay, so now, before this board adopts the amended comprehensive plan, they decided that, and I thought everyone was on board with this, that they would take a couple of months, freeze everything, and just make sure that whatever is adopted this time is something that the public understands, agrees with, and makes good planning sense in the bigger scheme of things.
So we're going to repay LA Group to relook at this again? Oh my God.
No.
Number one, I'm going to say this to you,
And LA
sir.
Group, that's right.
Number one, if you have any questions about the moratorium, correct about the moratorium?
I have a
Thank
question
you.
why we're paying twice for the
Thank you.
same plan.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else with public comments? If not, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Does anyone have any comments on agenda items? Okay. For tonight's meeting, I'll be the presiding officer. First on the agenda is to approve minutes. The minutes were taken on the 4th of April, 2022, at a regular meeting. And then there was a special meeting on the same night, same day, April 4th, 2022. Motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. All against? Motion carries. Resolution, adoption of local law 03-2022, moratorium on land use development. I have a legal notice here that when it was put into the paper, you all have the law before you. Elise just gave us an overview, I appreciate that. And so this would be the time to approve this resolution. Anything you would like to add, Elise?
No.
Discussion, after 60 days, it's off the books.
Correct.
Unless this board extends it.
And the 60 days starts when this is, if it passes tonight, it's filed in Albany by the Secretary of State. When the clerk gets that okay that it was filed, that becomes day one.
Some of the residents were thinking it goes on forever and ever.
Not at all.
No,
That- You couldn't do that.
I don't think people thought that. It's just that, what is the purpose of it, is what people are wondering.
Because they said that's in case they were concerned about sales tax, they were concerned about the building.
No, that has nothing to do with it.
No. At least it's important to people to hear it after 60 days,
You
think it's ever happened.
unless we vote,
Yes, you could.
unless we put it back on track.
So trustee DeSalvo just asked the village attorney if it takes less than 60 days, can we end it in less than 60 days? The answer is yes. Okay, so may I have a motion for the moratorium on land use development?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
May I have roll call?
Trustee Guerrero?
No, and the comment, and here it is again. We created a B3 zone in 2019-2020 so that it could be different from B1 zoning. And what we're being told now is that it was a mistake because it should have looked like the B1 zoning. That doesn't make sense. So a moratorium to keep people from progress, a moratorium to keep them from actually starting with their projects on Main Street, getting businesses to come in so that we can get more tax money from the new businesses, more employment, more people on Main Street. A moratorium prevents that from happening. So it doesn't make sense to have a moratorium.
Next.
Trustee Alward?
Yes, because I think we need the time so perhaps errors won't be made again.
Thank you.
Trustee
Next.
DeSalvo?
This is a new thing, when we comment before we vote. It's motion, second, discussion, vote, but we do a new thing now where we comment. The attorney read explicitly in the moratorium. So just so the public doesn't get sidetracked again by misinformation. There's a whole list of things that don't apply to the moratorium. It has to do with open permits that are going on now. It has to do with new permits that you want to get on your building. You get a building on Main Street, you want to renovate it to fit your business, you can do that. It doesn't preclude you from doing that. It precludes new property, new parcels of land that are undeveloped.
Right.
Okay, so, which are few in Village Island Falls, extremely few. Excuse me, I didn't interrupt you, please. So it doesn't do any of that, it was complete misinformation. Once again, we have to stop, correct it, and then we have to try to move forward. On the changing of the B1, B3 districts, there was significant changes to the B3, which we tried to accommodate friends that you know, that held your sign up in support when you ran for office. So let's not play games here, okay? We changed those zones to bring in
Oh,
that
you're
development.
accusing
Whoa,
me
whoa,
of
excuse me, I'm
something.
talking,
I'm
I'm
sorry,
talking.
you're accusing me of
Excuse me,
something.
I'm
I
talking.
must say something
I am
back.
talking right now.
Don't accuse me
I am
of
talking
not
right now,
talking.
excuse me, please.
Don't accuse
Don't
me.
interrupt me,
Mr.
please.
DeSalvo,
I did not interrupt
When
you.
you were in the
I did
IDA,
not interrupt
Oh
you.
my God. in
before
heaven.
you got
So
kicked out of the IDA, you were friends with him.
we changed those B3 districts to
I'm
accommodate
sorry, I
new
apologize to
new
the
development. So let's not pretend here for a second. My vote is yes.
So you tried to.
Before you
Now, I'm
got
gonna
kicked
say
out
this.
of the
Now, I'm
Orange
gonna say
County
this.
IDA.
Mayor,
you
The
allowed it.
B1 and the B3 district is what we're looking at. The B1 and the B3. They're both from Thayer Gate going all the way down to the new church, I always say the new church, 11 Main Street. Maybe we acted, maybe, I'm not, some of us acted too quick to come up with the B5, which is
B3.
B3.
with-
And, I'm sorry, we're talking about B1 and B3. In the B1, I want the public to know something, and you gotta think about what your community, what you want your community to look like. Not what I want it to look like, although sometimes I hope we agree. B1, many areas along Main Street, 60 feet. 60 feet. B3, 75 feet. 75 feet. Now, if that's what you all want, I'll do it. But I would like to hear from some of you. And as far as any development, we haven't stopped any development by doing this. I have had several meetings, with emails from Rick Manicosi, who seems to be the guy that's buying up property and developing it. Praise God, that's what we need. And he's fine. It hasn't stopped anyone else. Not anyone else. And Rick's fine, because he needs this time anyway. He wasn't going to stop. You weren't going to see a truck pull up the street here on Perry Avenue with a load of lumber tomorrow. You're not going to see that for a while. So we have this time to get it right. Possibly a mistake was made. Possibly we acted too soon. Now we're really going to look at it. The end result might be the same. I actually don't know. I'm always asking people on the street. So many of them say, well, how high is that? Well, look at Spellman Hall across the street. That would be in a B1 district, which is on Main Street. Take Shades, double it, actually double it, and add 15 more feet. Is that what you want? That's what I'll give you. But I need to know. We need to know. That's the only reason we're doing this. I thought it was a good suggestion to do it. I still think that. I vote yes. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Boy. It's too bad. All right. We have a bond resolution for Onleora Park sewer lining. You have that before you. Bond resolution of the Village of Highland Falls, New York, adopted the 18th day of April, if it passes, 2022, authorizing the construction of improvements to the sanitary sewer system, stating the estimate maximum cost thereof is $2 million, appropriating said amount for such purpose, and authorizing the issuance of bonds in the principal amount of $2 million to be financed said, to finance said appropriations. We've talked about this for quite a while. It's finally before us. There's been a lot of legwork done so far on sleeving the sewer line. Now it's up to all of you to, if you want this to proceed with a motion.
I'll make the motion to pursue this.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Do I have roll call?
Trustee Guerrero,
Yes.
Trustee Aller,
Yes.
Trustee DeSalvo,
Yes.
Mayor D'Onofrio.
Yes, thank you so much. Motion carries. Next, we have a bond resolution for Onleora and Satterley Road stormwater. resolution of the Village of Highland Falls, New York, adopted the 18th day of April 2022, authorizing the construction of improvements to stormwater drainage system, stating the estimate maximum cost thereof is $2,400,000, appropriating said amount for such purpose, and authorizing the issuance of bonds in the principal amount of $2,400,000 to finance said appropriations. May I have a motion if you care?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Howard, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee DeSalvo. May I have roll call?
Trustee Guerrero.
Yes.
Trustee Alward.
Yes.
Trustee DeSalvo.
Yes.
Mayor D'Onofrio.
Yes, thank you so much, motion carries.
I do have a comment about that. That brings us, this is just the sewer and stormwater for just on the Aura and Saturday. That's already 4.4 million. There's already a resolution, a bond resolution for the on the Aura Cragston water main project. That's another 3.4 million. That's been approved and authorized. We've been spending on that money. And our current debt that we have been issued is almost 5 million. So that brings our debt, by the time all of this is over, and this is just on the Aura and Cragston, close to 13 million. Okay, that's not even 12.2. That's going to be 12.2 million by the time we finish the water main and on the Aura Cragston. And yes, we have to do this. This is all infrastructure. We need to do this, right? Sewer needs to get done first, and then the water main gets done first. And that's not even talking about the water main and sewer on Main Street and all the streets above Main Street where the most dense population resides in this 1 square mile village. So we're going to be in a lot of debt, and we really need, and the budget is going to get approved on May 1st. And we need to tighten our belts, you know. There are certain luxuries that we just cannot afford anymore. Going to Orange County 911 saves us almost $500,000 a year. So,
Okay, next on the agenda is a resolution for unpaid water bills for May of 2021 and November of 2021. Related to June 2022 village taxes. Whereas the Village of Highland Falls has 85 delinquent water accounts in the amount of $30,300.72 remaining unpaid, including late fees from May and November of 2021 water bill. Now therefore be it resolved that no further payments will be accepted after April 15, 2022, and any and all unpaid water accounts for the year 2021 will be re-levied onto the 2022-2023 village taxes. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have roll call?
Trustee Guerrero.
yes.
Trustee Alward.
Yes.
Trustee DeSalvo.
Yes.
Mayor D'Onofrio.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have unpaid sewer bills. June and December of 2021. Whereas the Village of Highland Falls has 110 delinquent sewer accounts in the amount of $74,915.01 remaining unpaid, including late fees from June and December of 2021 sewer billing. Now therefore be resolved that no further payments will be accepted after April 15, 2022, and any and all unpaid sewer accounts for the year 2021 will be re-levied onto the 22-23 village taxes. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have roll call?
Trustee Guerrero.
Yes.
Trustee Alward.
Yes.
Trustee DeSalvo.
Yes.
Mayor D'Onofrio.
Yes. Thank you so much. Motion carried. Next on the agenda is to accept the vendor's space bid. We went out to bid, we went out with a legal ad. We had one vendor submitted for $300 from Jesse Marvin, DBA Two Dogs Hot Dogs. Again, his bid was $300. There was no other bids. He has his spot. The only thing, if you're going to approve this, it needs to be approved that he doesn't get his permit until he deposits the $300 and the issuance and the insurance is provided. So he has two things to do. Of course, submit the 300, he knows that, but we need insurance.
So moved, pending those two requirements.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have bills and claims of $92,647.60. Mr. Howard, myself, probably others reviewed the bills. Motion by Brian, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jim, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. I don't know what was in last week's News of the Highlands. I'm assuming there was an article about the robbery at Walgreens. And I want to read the press release again. On April 7th, 2022, at approximately 7:30 in the evening, a robbery occurred in Holland Falls. 3 men entered the Holland Falls Walgreens and began stuffing large duffel bags with over-the-counter medication. Then they attempted to leave the store when they were confronted by a store employee who was shoved out of the way. A phone call was made to the local police, 4911 dispatch, and the suspect vehicle was located as it was leaving the parking lot. 3 men from Brooklyn were arrested, charged with 160-10 robbery, second degree, 155-35 grand larceny, and third degree, 165-50 criminal possession of stolen property in the third. Over $13,000 in stolen merchandise was recovered from this robbery and similar larceny that group had just committed in the Walgreens in Vales Gate. So quickly, I want to thank the dispatch unit, quickly taking the information and passing it on to the patrolman. The patrolman caught them still in their car as they were leaving. And I want to commend, I believe there might have been others, but I know I want to commend Sergeant Ruber and Rich Santiago. Job extremely well done. Thank you. Speeding, we talked about speeding in the last minute. I'm looking, and I want to talk to the attorney about speed bumps. Sometimes I hear they're illegal, sometimes I hear they're not. Everyone wants speed bumps, but they don't want them in front of their house because they don't want to hear the banging. But speed bumps do work. But also I want everyone to know that I've directed the police department to order one of these speed limit signs that are portable. We'll put them on a telephone pole and then we can move them somewhere else and back and somewhere else, and we'll just keep doing that. Cameras are an option, although we do have several cameras now out on these streets. And there's a couple other directives I've given the police department that I won't mention tonight to curtail speeding. So they're working on that. I think this sign will help. I will be meeting with the News of the Highlands to give information to them about a $100,000 grant that the village has an award. I want to thank Mr. Howard in contacting Senator Skoufis, my meetings with Senator Skoufis, and I believe that by that happening, we have been given $100,000, and we'll talk about how to spend it as far as downtown revitalization. That's a good grant. Go around the table.
I don't have anything to add.
Next.
I have a elderly gentleman on the corner of my street, and I was on my way to the center, and my wife came running out and said he fell. So I came back and picked him up, and it was a struggle. And we called the ambulance, and the police came up. It was Shulman Ripper and Vecchio. He had his Marine hat on, he's a Marine vet, and the young guy said to him, "Oh, Marine hat, huh? Calm down." He followed directions. We finally got him settled. They did not leave till the ambulance came, and they stayed right with him. They helped him get on him, and it was just a nice thing to do. This gentleman has fallen 4 or 5 times in the last month. And they're-
Which,
Yeah, and they're there, and they did a great job. Sometimes I hear, well, no, that's their job. Why do you compliment people? Because getting up in age, it's nice when people come in, intervene in a very civil and respectful manner. That's it.
Mr. Howard, I met with someone this morning, a person in town, a retired soldier, if you will, lives here in Humboldt Falls, about Richie. Richie needs help, and he's a Vietnam vet, Marine Corps. He needs help. We're made some phone calls and in a preliminary way have started the process to try to get him at no cost I don't know if they call them scooters, 3 or 4 wheel scooter that he can go up and down. He likes to go downtown in the morning and pick up his papers, but he always has to find a place to rest because he can only go so far each time. But he's come to the notice of several people now, including yourself. We're going to help him.
Yeah, the housing, that he can't go up and down those stairs.
He lives up a flight of steps. We talked about that today.
Behind that door, we're not gonna get him out.
Yeah, we talked that, you're right. Jim?
Yeah, just a couple quick things. There's been a couple of new RVC motors that have been replaced at the sewer plant. And one of them seems to continue to give us an issue. In fact, it happened again tonight where something's going on with the mechanicals of the pump motor, and it's causing a loud squealing noise, which apparently you can hear echo in the Cragston area. So I got a text about an hour before the meeting because it was offline. The folks who came and put it in came to fix it, and of course it started making the same noise again. So I contacted Mr. Jones, and they shut that motor down again. It's all on warranty, and eventually it sounds like it'll probably be replaced, I would imagine. And just a quick reminder that we do have a budget meeting next Saturday at 9:30, I think here, right?
Yeah, this Saturday.
Yeah, this Saturday coming, I'm sorry. And just a reminder that if we cut your general, the budget's broken down in 3 parts, right? So general fund, which directly affects your property taxes and is levied on your property taxes. The other 2 lines are sewer and water. And Ms. Guerrero is right. You know, we are in the process of, just like the town did just recently, we're doing a lot of investment into water and sewer. It's not cheap. There's 2 rules of thought. I can either tax you and save it, or come up with a plan, try to find the best cost, try to look for grants, bond it, and pay it forward. There's arguments for both. I'm not going to deny that. There's arguments for both. But it's important to understand that as people come into the community, they're paying for the new infrastructure. They're paying for the new capital expense. New businesses, new homeowners, whatever. So keep that in mind. If we cut the general fund budget by half, so if the general fund budget is $100 and we cut it to $50, which affects your property taxes, it would not go towards water and sewer. Water and sewer is billed upon usage. That's
and it
why
would go back in your pocket.
water and sewer is based upon usage, and that's how we would pay for it. We based on your water and sewer bills. So yes, you're right, it would go back in your pocket, but it would not alleviate the water and sewer bill that we're spending to put capital improvement.
It'll alleviate
Okay,
your
so
expense.
again, the general fund, water, sewer, it's broken down into 3 parts. It's a little different than the town. So,
You're
thank you.
paying for all of it.
Any public comment? Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, Board, just a couple quick things. A few meetings ago, I did bring up some points of fact about the 350 square foot of lot area per unit. And it's just my opinion, but I think you're doing the right thing by revisiting that, because I believe there's some things that were not intricately looked at, unfortunately. If we were to keep the 350 square feet, that has the potential on this north end to add 2,668 apartments. I mean, bedrooms, I stand corrected, bedrooms.
Wow.
Bedrooms, 2,668 bedrooms. If we were to do the full build out at 350 square feet. That's just on this north end. If you were to look at the south end, with the same thing with 350 square feet, for the few parcels that are down there, again, we're looking at another 2,000 bedrooms. So that's a lot of bedrooms. So I believe we really need to look at 350 square feet. I gave you some calculations. I did speak with the village's engineer, like you had asked. I'll give him that spreadsheet. And then you can put any variables in there that you want. But once you figure out the square feet, it is my suggestion, and this is as a citizen, not as a member of any board or anything like that. You should, based upon the square footage that you're gonna allow, maybe you need to look at the bedrooms as well. It's in plenty of other zonings throughout this county and other counties that I work in. So you might have to look at how many bedrooms you would allow. It's just another suggestion. And I do need to speak with you also, Mr. Mayor, about the community choice aggregate. I got some good information.
I were here earlier, Jen.
Yeah, I heard it, and
That's okay.
unfortunately, I didn't get an email, or else I would have tried to get it a little
okay.
early, but that was my fault.
You knew everything, that it was good for us.
Yeah, and I was at the town one, and I asked some questions there, and they had a lot of good answers.
Anything else? Then I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.